If you meet a man and you don't like where he is and who he is when you meet him, and you think, I can change that, well then I'll call up Mike because you must be magic. Alright, let's do this, shall we? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna Sheehan, and I don't know what I'm doing, but we're figuring it out as we go along. But to kick off my first video back here, I am going to be talking about 24 things that I have learned now that I am 24. I did a shortened version of this on my TikTok a couple months ago when I first turned 24. I'm almost actually 24 and a half. Right? Period. If this can help one singular person, boy, girl in high school, I think I would have liked to known a couple of these things myself when I was just a little bit younger that maybe I wouldn't have had to learn the hard way sometimes. Let's get into it. Okay, I have it all written down. Your life is as good or bad as you think it is. How you view your life is a direct result of what goes on up here. You either are a very glass half full or glass half empty person. Whichever one you are dominates your thoughts, and therefore your life is going to show you just how good or bad it is. But if you think your life is great, it is. If you think your life sucks, it probably is. Number 2, very few things in life are as deep as you really think they are. Things just aren't that deep. Things are going to go your way, things are not going to go your way. You're going to love people, you're going to lose people. You are going to hear criticisms about you. You're going to get great news. Very few things just are that deep, you know? Number 3, this is something I've been saying well before my 24th year here on this earth. You do not get gold stars for doing what you should be doing. Let me explain. Your best friend approaches you and says, Jenna, oh my God, these people were talking down on you, saying terrible things about you, but don't worry, I stood up for you. Right. Thank you. But you should already be doing that if you're my best friend. You don't get a gold star for sticking up for me when you're supposed to be my best friend. Some people like to see with how little they can get away with in life. That's fine, but then when they do just a step above the bare minimum, you know, you're like, oh my God, well, that's a big change for them. That's a big step for them. You don't get a gold star for doing that. Or I had this other friend. He emptied the dishwasher for the first time without me having to ask. You mean a grown man, a grown adult, did a basic chore that takes 2.5 minutes by himself without you having to tell him you're his mother? That you don't get a gold star for that, brother. That's just that's not how it works, at least in my world. You have significantly more things to be grateful for than you realize. And it's easy to lose track of just how blessed you are on a daily basis. You woke up pretty healthy, in a bed, with a roof over your head, maybe even with a pet. You might not like your job, but you have a job that gives you money. You're probably watching this on a phone that costs about $1,000 more than likely. Even safely making it from point A to point B in a car, in a plane, on a train. Very little things we take for granted are, that's something to be grateful for. You have thousands of things to be grateful for on a daily basis. Number 5. When you are of legal drinking age, start tracking the number of drinks that you are consuming on a night out. I'm talking from us women, we like to get ready. Usually there's a get ready drink, and then maybe you'll go to a pre-game, and maybe you'll go to dinner and then go out afterwards. Especially when you're with a group of people, even just with one friend, you can start to lose track of how many drinks you are consuming in a night. I just open a notes app and start a brand new note and start writing espresso martini while I'm getting ready, 6 p.m. And then shot of vodka, 7 p.m. I also think writing the times that you drink these are very important. This just helps avoid the whole over drinking, blacking out kind of scene. Not saying it's never gonna happen to you, but if you start tracking your drinks, it's way easier to see when it's written down in front of you. Wow, I've had quite a few drinks. Maybe I'm good for now. Maybe I don't need that shot. Okay, next, start looking at what your clothes are made out of, because you do not need a $200 workout set that's made out of 98% polyester. And I have been a victim of this scam. Believe me, You want to look for real cotton, right? Real silk, real materials that are going to kind of stand the test of time. When you start buying really good quality materials, they're going to last you much longer. In the long run, you're going to save more money. If you are one of those people that finds yourself lost in your 20s, 30s, post-grad, even 40s, 50s, just start by becoming someone that you would enjoy spending your time around, right? You don't know what you're doing. Most of us don't. That's no secret. But you can start by becoming someone that you want to surround yourself with, right? You want to work on being a better friend. You want to build good habits. What does that look like? That's going to vary person to person. Number 8. Believe people the first time they show you who you are. It's definitely a lesson I have had to learn the hard way numerous times. For instance, I would see, like, I ended up living with a girl who I was friends with prior, and I would see the way she would treat some of her other friends, and I would think, wow, that's fucked up. She would do some things where I would take a step back and be like, whoa, that's not cool. That's kind of like, that's a terrible thing to do. And that's a terrible thing to say to someone that's your friend. And then I would think, but she won't do that to me. Oh, yes, she will. We're different than her and that girl. She would never act that way towards me. And I have ironically learned that lesson mostly with girls, but this goes into dating too. When you're ignoring those red flags, then they come back to bite you. Why don't you do yourself a favor and save yourself a lot of time and energy and just believe people the first time they show you who they are. Number 9 and 10 kind of go hand in hand, and they apply to people who are legally allowed to drink. A tequila shot does wonders before a first date. Or a glass of wine. I prefer the tequila. It really takes the edge off of a first date. You know, it's nerve-wracking, you don't know if you're gonna be compatible. Gives you a little more of that false confidence. It's never a bad thing on a first date. But with that, my next piece of advice that I have learned is that you should only consume about 2 to 3 drinks maximum on the first 3 dates with someone. I personally would not trust someone that tries to get me super drunk on the first couple dates. I know, what a concept. But 2 to 3 drinks maximum on the first 3 dates. Otherwise, you're getting into tricky waters. They're trying to look a little more attractive than they are. You don't really think about the fact that they didn't tip the waitress at dinner. Truthfully, that's just for your own safety. 11 is my favorite number. If there was a perfect time to do certain things, it would be a national holiday on the calendar. For instance, if there was a perfect day in your 20s to move across the country and out of your parents' house, there would be a day assigned to it on the calendar. But there's not. There's never a perfect time to start things. Even tonight, I had thoughts that, right, this is my first time filming in over a year. And I thought, but initially I'm like, well, I get my hair done Monday. Maybe I'll just postpone it and wait till my hair is done because my roots are grown out. You know, my nails are chipped, my hair is not done, it's dirty. But there's never gonna be a perfect time to do things. You just have to start. And if you're gonna continue to wait for a perfect time, you're waiting all the way to the grave. The gym makes you look good, but it really builds discipline. I'm only 24. I can already start to tell around people my age who takes care of themselves and who doesn't. If it's starting to be obvious at 24, could you imagine at 34? It's not everyone's favorite thing, but it does build discipline and, right, helps you live longer. 13, your music absolutely does dictate your mood. I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking and hasn't already been proven by science, but this is something that I learned the hard way. Broken hearts hurt a lot more when you're listening to sad breakup music. They hurt a lot less when you start blasting Megan Thee Stallion. Right? Hard to be upset over a breakup when you got Megan Thee Stallion telling you in your ear what a bad bitch you are. What an idiot he is. But that goes for all circumstances. Your music really does dictate your mood. Do with that what you will. 14, I can seriously tell how much you love and respect yourself based on what you tolerate from the people around you and that you choose to keep around you. 15, you gain nothing from raining on other people's parades. And I think this is so prevalent in social media. You'll see someone just, look at this sweater I thrifted. And the comments are like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what do you gain from that? That is so unnecessary. What did this girl do to you? That is so unnecessary. It's so irrelevant. You just, like, what did you gain from that? Nothing. You gain nothing from raining on other people's parades. 16. My best experiences in my life this far have come from outside of my hometown. This isn't a dig to my hometown and where I live. I live in a great area. I've had a very happy childhood in all the places I've lived. This isn't a dig to where I've grown up. When I've left my hometown, even for trips, for colleges, for internships, for whatever, my best experiences come when I leave these walls. Again, not a dig to where I live currently, but it's just the truth. 17, I think. 17, you cannot change a man, and if you somehow successfully do, he will resent you forever, and then it will implode. If you meet a man and you don't like where he is and who he is when you meet him, and you think, I can change that, well then I'll call up Mike because you must be magic if you can somehow change him. I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch rocks decompose into sand before I try and change a man. I got significantly better things to do with my time, like a root canal. 18. Arguing with closed-minded people is the best way to waste your time. There's just no need. If someone isn't even open to hearing a different opinion, perspective, story even, don't, again, go get a root canal. That's a better use of your time than trying to argue with someone that has such a closed mind and isn't open to hearing anything other than what their probably empty brain is telling them. Number 19, I think having a type when it comes to love and dating is a load of bullshit. I never understood why certain people are, I only date blondes, or I only date brunettes, or I only date athletes, or art people, or designers, or things like that. Like things that are kind of superficial. Why am I gonna discredit a whole population of men simply for something so superficial as their hair color or their eye color or their heights? If you line up every guy I have kissed, dated, talked to, been in a relationship with, there's no rhyme or reason. If you only date one type and somehow you're still single and it's not working out, why do you think that is? Number 20, no one gets through life completely unscathed. And that's a hard thing to remember on a day-to-day basis because of how media is now. It's the whole thing where you hear people say, no one posts their struggles, no one posts their failures, no one posts things that the bad things they're going through. And I think it's a good reminder that no one goes through life unscathed. Even the wealthy, famous people, A-listers at the top, they will have events in their life that shake them up, that change who they are. That's life. Not a single person makes it through the entire span of their life without adversity. That is how cookies crumble here on this earth. So no one gets through this life unscathed, no matter how perfect you think their lives are or that they appear to be. Number 21, I don't have to tolerate disrespect from anyone. Who would have thought? Clearly not me. It did take me quite a few years to realize this. If someone blatantly disrespects me and I say, hey, that was hurtful, or that was kind of messed up, and you just have no remorse, you don't care, I actually don't have to tolerate that. Goodbye. Goodbye. Why would I keep someone like that in my life? Especially like in my inner circle. You don't have to tolerate disrespect from anyone. That doesn't mean you have to be nasty and condescending back towards them, but there's 8 billion people in the world. Surely I can find some that will not utterly disrespect me and then not care. 22. That was hurtful is a complete sentence. It's also an effective sentence. One that took me 23 years to say out loud to people I love that have hurt me. The beauty of it is you don't have to elaborate. That was hurtful. And how someone responds to you saying that tells you everything you need to know about them and how they feel about you. 23. I believe that chasing happiness 24/7 is a never-ending cycle that you will never get out of. And I think it might lead you to being kind of miserable. That's just completely unrealistic. That life is never gonna hurl something at you, that you're never gonna lose a job or lose someone close to you or get your heart broken or get aggravated at someone. Like you're the thought of trying to be happy 24/7 is just unrealistic to me, and that's not something I think we should be chasing as much as I believe we should be chasing contentment. I think trying to chase the feeling of being content with who you are, what your life is, who's in your life, I think that's a lot more realistic than the never-ending cycle of chasing happiness. Okay, and we've reached number 24, which is one of my favorites, probably my best piece of advice whenever I have younger girls especially say, what's your advice? What do you wish you knew? My last piece of advice is to embrace every new experience that comes your way as often as possible. I'm talking trips, concerts, hobbies, people, even meeting people. New experiences, I believe, shape us into who we are. If you only stay in the same place for the rest of your life, eating the same food with the same 4 to 5 people at the same job forever, I don't know, that's not personally how I would want to live my life. New experiences and new people and opportunities help us grow into who we're meant to be. New experiences help us learn the things that we love and that we're going to love. Like, I enjoy knowing that I probably haven't read my favorite book of all time yet. And I love knowing that I probably haven't traveled to my favorite place that I'm ever gonna go in the world. You know, even going to restaurants and ordering a new drink, right? And this can be as simple as trying a new mascara. How do you know that you don't like the mascara that's next to the one that you always buy? How do you know you don't like the coffee shop that's around the corner from the Starbucks that you always get? Right? Life's meant to be experienced. Can't do that if you're constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again. And this concludes my 24 things that I have learned now that I am 24 years old. I really hope you enjoyed and took at least something away from this video. And if not, maybe you just enjoyed knowing that my cat was behind me for the entirety of this video. I would love if in the comments you could drop something that you have learned over the course of your life so far. I love reading these kinds of things, whether it's on Substack or watching other YouTube videos or things on TikTok. I just also love learning about other people's life experiences and things that they've learned along the way. So if you want to drop something in the comments for me to read, I actually would thoroughly enjoy that. And with that, I hope you have a day that's just as fabulous as you are.